welcome to the annual town meeting, 2025, May 1st. We have a lot of things on the warrant, and for those of you who are new to this, every annual town meeting happens in every state, in the state of, every town in the state of Massachusetts that has a town meeting form of government, whether it's representative or open. We have open town meeting because our population is such that we cannot have a representative town meeting. So having said that, if it's your first time here, please listen up. I'll go through a brief explanation of how things work, and then we'll talk about the new things that we will be doing here tonight. So, like I said, the posted warrant has been posted at least 7 days. It's got 47 articles on there. Okay, I've asked, okay, this is the last time I'm going to ask this question. Those of you who are way in the back, you don't need to be there. There are plenty of seats up front. If those of you way in the back have a hard time hearing, please get up and move to the seats down here. Fine. Okay. Folks, come on. You know, we got a lot of things to do tonight. All right? I know people like to sit way in the back, and that's fine if you're in church and stuff. But we have to make sure we can get through this. And it's, if I speak too loud for you guys to hear, these guys think I'm speaking too loud. So just please keep that in mind, all right? So, but the warrant has been posted. We're going to go through article by article. And what will happen is somebody will make a motion for each article that we come up to, and then we'll have discussion on that. Before the discussion, typically I ask Finance Committee for their recommendation, and then we go from there. One thing to keep in mind is that only one person can speak at a time, so the person who's got the microphone, after I call on them, is the person who can speak. If you can't hear me or something, politely raise your hand and say, I can't hear you, Mr. Moderator. I understand that. I'll do the best I can based on the situation we have. I've been told that we have new speakers here. So maybe a microphone system hasn't fit with the speakers yet. I don't know. We'll do what we can. Okay? I forgot to do something. Madam Chairman, what do I forget to do?
You forgot to say, have a stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So, we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing so we can have a moment of silence for the residents of the past year who have passed away in the town of Upton that have been involved with town government. Thank you. So I want to ask we want to have a little presentation to the folks with regard to the clickers. So, the folks who are going to have that up on the screen, do we have that ready to go? The presentation on the clickers? Okay, thank you. So, for those of you who were not at the special town meeting back in November, that town meeting voted to use electronic voting devices. And these are them. And they're called the clickers. So what you can see up here, by the way, this grid is the only time you're going to see this tonight. Okay? What we're going to do is practice pressing the buttons and to see that if you press yes on number 8, that it's going to come up green, and if you press no, it's going to be red. Okay, that kind of thing. We're going to practice that. And then after we practice that, we'll do some other things, sample questions, so you can see how the process works. So what I'd like you to do right now, hold your clicker and look at it, What you'll notice is a yes and a no, okay? Green next to the yes, red next to the no. If you feel on this thing, you'll notice there's also like a little bump above the yes. That does nothing. And then there's 2 or 3 bumps below the no. Those do nothing. You're using just 2 of the little bumps. The one yes next to the yes, and the one next to the no. Okay? So, at the moment, we happen to have up on the screen clickers 1 through 30. What we're going to do is I'm going to have all of you pick whatever you want, yes or no. And then we're going to run through, and if you can find your number and see that you voted the way you voted, fantastic. So let's try that right now. So press whatever you want, yes or no. We'll get to that. Yeah, thank you. So we're going to open the vote. Yes or no? At the moment, they're all blue. Does the blue mean yes?
It'll show after.
Okay, so right now, all this means is that the blue means you voted. Doesn't say yes or no yet. Okay? So there's still a bunch of people that haven't voted yet. Yeah, please.
If you'll notice on your clickers also, you'll see the number you voted shows up on your screen. Sorry. It also has an OK button that tells you that the receiver accepted your vote.
Thank you. So across the top, what you'll notice, obviously, is upper left, total number of people who have voted so far. The middle, the yes votes, the no is to the right. Okay? So when we vote for a real thing, what's going to happen is this. I'll say, open the vote. Then you can vote yes or no. You have 15 seconds to make up your mind how you voted. And you might think, well, that's a long time. Well, not really. Usually you take 5 seconds or so. But if it's the first time we're doing it, we want you to get used to it. I'm giving you 15 seconds. That'll be for every single vote we take, you'll have 15 seconds. The last thing you press is what's going to show up. Once I say close the vote, that's it. You can't change your vote at that point in time. Okay? So notice how far up it goes. Into the thousands. Okay? But we have about how many people? 200 and something? Maybe 300? So, there you go. Look at that. So we see the yeses and the nos right now. Okay? We've still got a bunch of clickers that, and maybe not all these clickers have been handed out. Okay? So there you go. As we're going through the different motions, you're not going to see all the individual votes here. We're doing this now for your sake so that you can say, oh yeah, I pressed whatever, and that's how I voted, if you can see that. So I'm looking at 27, I voted yes. And now I voted no. Oh, we moved away from 27. Okay? Oh yeah, we already closed the vote. Thank you. That's right. That's okay. Thank you. Essentially, that's how it works. Okay? So, what I want to do now, let's close the vote, clear it. Please. Well, but I want you to clear it. Can we clear this? Thank you. Okay. Do you want town meeting to end at midnight? Notice it didn't say before midnight, it said at midnight. So, vote yes or no on that. Open the vote. And that's what it's going to look like tonight when you vote. Okay? And like I say, you'll have 15 seconds to do it. And at the end of the 15 seconds, I'm going to say, close the vote. Sue, close the vote. Okay? Once I say close the vote, they press a button, everything stops, and then you'll see the vote. Okay? Now, most of you can't see this, but up at the top, there's a bar. Way up on the left, it says whether the vote is a majority or two-thirds majority, or maybe four-fifths, if it's a fancy thing. Then it says raw absolute is the next thing. Then, the third one, it says result. Here it says failed. Why? Because 186 voted no and 53 voted yes. And then the status way on the right is that it's closed. Okay? Essentially, that's how it works. All right? Hopefully, that explains how it works. Let's try one more. Have you ever attended an town meeting? This is where we find out who the newcomers are. So please vote honestly on this. Open the voting. Wow, I have a lot of new people here tonight. Close the voting. Close the voting. Thank you. So, it says here that 63 people here tonight at your very first town meeting. Thank you very much for coming, and let the rest of us be. So, okay, that thing that was up there, we're going to be doing that in a couple of minutes, something called a consent calendar. Okay, so, a couple more things I want to say about the clickers. You may have noticed that when you came in, someone handed you the clicker. They did not take the number of clicker that they gave you and make note of it. For example, mine is number 27. Just happens to be randomly at 27. So nobody knows that the clicker that you have is attached to you. Now, sometimes when people leave a meeting, they forget to do things. Like sometimes they forget to drop off stuff in the basket. So it's possible that some folks might forget to drop off their clicker. They'll get home tonight and they'll say, oh, I forgot to drop off my clicker. And then all you got to do is drop it off with the town clerk tomorrow or the next week or something.
No judgment. We'll take it back.
No judgment. Now, some of you might be thinking, wait a minute, I got a clicker. So when I go to the next meeting and they give me another clicker, that means I have 2 clickers. Ah, so that means I can maybe vote twice. No. Here's the reason why. Whatever clickers you don't hand back to this nice lady, she'll have track of that, and those clickers will be disabled so that they cannot be used at the next town meeting. You get what I'm saying? So, for those of you with a sinister mind out there, and since I'm the one that thought about this as well, yes, I have a sinister mind as well, you can't vote twice at the next meeting. So if you bring them home, please bring them back, hand them back. Thank you very much. Okay, good. So let me ask Sue, the gentleman, the clicker gentleman, I forget your name, Travis, is there anything that we've forgotten with regard to what we have to do, do you think?
No, just wait until you see that okay with the outline, and then you know that vote registered. And yeah, like you said, if you want to change your vote, just wait until you see the okay again after you change it, and
You vote.
yeah, it's pretty simple.
It's pretty straightforward, okay. And remember, the last button you press is the one you're going to vote, and I've got my stopwatch here for 15 seconds. So once I say open, then it's going to be 15 seconds, and when I say closed, we're done. Okay? So hopefully this will all work out okay for everybody. Okay, good. Board Selectmen, anything you wanted to say with regard to this at all? Are we all set? Okay, good, very good. Do I have a list of non-registered voters? Okay. Other visitors. So we're going to go through the visitors here, and we'll have a motion, and we can practice with the clickers. I'm voting for the visitors, okay? Okay? We'll do it, why not? Okay, so, is there a motion to accept the following visitors? Jay Biden, Town Manager. Travis McKenzie, Meridia. He's the guy here with the technology. Dennis Westgate, DPW Director. Maureen Cohen, Superintendent, Mendon Upper Regional. Jay Byer, Financial Person, Mendon Upper Regional. Jessica Gomez, Treasury. Lauren MacArthur, Election Worker. Town Council, Brian Mazer. Paul Marchand, Upton DPW. Mike Antonellis. Mike Antonellis is from what? I'm sorry, town planner, pardon me. Chris Karen, IT. Susan, our assistant here, thank you very much. Brower, is that right? Okay, thank you. James Willits, Maureen, with Maureen, what else? It says James Willits, and then it's got your name next to it. I don't know who that is. I don't know, James Willits. Is there a James Willits here? Okay. Who? Okay, all right. Michael Fitzpatrick, Valley Tech. Listen, hi, Dr. Fitzpatrick. So, I want to ask you, is this possibly your last official town meeting as the official superintendent for Valley Tech?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming to every town meeting.
Encouragement.
Thank you. Almost, but I just want to say one more thing about Dr. Fitzpatrick. Quite often, when people come for specific reasons, once those reasons are done, they get up and leave, and that's fine. No problem with that. Dr. Fitzpatrick would come and stay typically till the very end of the meeting, every single meeting. He does that for 13 towns, okay? So that says a lot about your commitment to your job. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay. Yes. Okay, is that hopefully better? Okay. Anthony Steele, the new superintendent, Valley Tech. Very good. You got some big shoes to fill there. Okay. Matthew Batchko, Library Director. Kenny Costa, Finance. Tanya Paparazzo, Elder Services. Katie San Clemente, Elder Services. Nick Palmieri, Police Chief. Thank you very much. The new Police Chief for the town of Upton. And there's a Mackie from Henry's Path. And some other non-registered voters, Stephen Shetler, John Lalibert, and Ann Lalibert, and they should be sitting in the visitors section. So hopefully that's where you are. Thank you very much. Okay, good. So, yes. So moved. Thank you very much. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Can we do the vote for the visitors here with the Clippers guys? Do you have the ability to do that? No? What I'm asking is, we're going to have a vote to accept all the visitors.
Oh, we don't have that.
You don't have that scheduled in there? Okay.
We could add it.
That's okay. No, that's okay. So, since we have put that in there for the visitors, we'll do that good old-fashioned way, by voice vote. So all those in favor of the visitors, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. I don't know how many times I'm going to be able to say that, because I've heard with these clickers, there's never any unanimous votes anymore. But that's okay. That's the democratic process. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is the consent calendar. So if we get the consent calendar up there. So, what is a consent calendar? A consent calendar is a list of the articles on the warrant that come up every single year. There's never any discussion or debate on those articles that would eventually become motions. And because of that, we vote at the beginning by unanimous consent to have all of them be voted on unanimously. Okay? That's what the consent calendar is. Now, I'm going to go through each one and do a brief explanation of what it is. If for some reason you do not want this on the consent calendar, just yell hold. If you yell hold, then we will remove it from the consent calendar, and then when that article comes up during its normal process, we will deal with it then. So for those of you who are new here, this is how we do things, because these things never get discussed, at least not for the past 5 or 6 years. Maybe a long time ago they were, but now they're not. So, the consent calendar. Article 1 is the town reports. Article 5 is the fiscal year 2026 water enterprise fund. Article 6 is the wastewater enterprise fund. There's one missing. Article 7 should be in there on the consent calendar, the revolving fund spending limits, unless somebody did not want that on there. Is that okay, guys? 7?
I believe 7 is in there, Mr. Moderator.
Okay, good. That's fine, yeah. So, include 7 in this list, please.
I have it in my list, Mr. Moderator.
No, that's okay. I mean, I'm just letting the folks know that, so that's okay. Article 8, Upton Cable Fund. Article 13 is the Chapter 90 acceptance of state money that comes to us to work on roads. 17A, B, and C are community preservation fund accounts that get put into each individual account. And then Article 38, way at the end, I think, Board of Assessors recertification, which is $10,000. I thought there was another one in there from Conservation Commission, the $5,000 one. Which one? Thank you. Thank you. But having said that, is it okay for the FinCom to have that on the consent calendar? Mr. Flaherty. Right, free cash, yep. So Article 16, Conservation Fund, money coming from free cash. Thank you. So, since I didn't have any holds on these, I assume everyone is
Mr.
fine.
Moderator, point of order.
Yes,
Your select board is confused about the question on 16. Can
Yeah.
somebody clarify, please?
so,
Is it? Joe. Are you asking to add Article 16 to the consent calendar?
16 was supposed to be on there, because when I discussed this with everybody initially, they said 16 was fine as long as it was free cash. But if somebody does not want to put it on there,
Yes,
all they
yes.
have to do is say hold.
Want me to change it?
So, okay, all I'm going to ask is this. If somebody doesn't want it on there, all they have to say is hold, and that's it, and we can move on.
We just need to clarify this screen, Mr. Moderator. That's-
Well, okay,
And I
okay.
need to I'm making the motion, Mr. Moderator. I need to clarify the motion, that's all. I want to make sure it's consistent.
Okay, what is it that's of concern?
It's not on the motion and it's not on my motion card, so that's why I was asking for a point of order and clarification.
That's fine, okay. So,
So I'm adding it, and I believe Sue is adding it to the screen.
Okay,
Thank
great,
you.
thank you. All right, so 16 will also be on there, coming from free cash. We all set, folks? FinCom, Board of Selectmen, are we all set with this? What- All I'm asking is if we can have Article 16 on the consent calendar for free cash, that's all I'm asking. Fine, Board of Selectmen's fine, right?
We're discussing semantics, Mr. Moderator. It says transfer versus raise and appropriate from free cash. So I need the FinCom's advice. Article 16 is printed in the warrant, reads, I move the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $5,000. Are we transferring, Mr. Flaherty, or are we raising and appropriate? What are we doing? This is, we're good? Let's have fun, we're all good.
All set? Great, thank you. Okay, good. So 16 will be on the consent calendar coming from free cash. Okay, so what I now want to do, we will, in about 5 seconds, I'm going to say, okay, so we're all set with what this means. Nothing's been held. So for the vote for the consent calendar, we will open voting. Close voting. Okay, so 246 voted yes for unanimous consent, 5 voted no, for a total of 251. The motion passes by majority. So all those articles will not be dealt with when we get to them in the process this evening.
Mr. Moderator, another point of order. I
Yes.
am going to be your favorite person tonight.
Please.
I did not hear a motion, I did not hear a second for the consent calendar.
It happened at the beginning.
Yep, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so that's done. All right, so Article 1 is done. We're done with that. Article 2, is there a motion for Article 2?
Yes, your favorite person has it.
Thank you.
I move that the town vote to pass over Article 2 as there are no prior year bills.
Second. Moved and seconded to pass over Article 2.
Those of you who are new, passing over means that we're not going to consider that article at all. So it didn't pass, it didn't fail, we're just not going to deal with it. And that's the way the motion works. So we do need to vote on whether or not to accept a passover motion. So, can I ask a question? After we voted on something and we're done, can the screen be cleared when we move on to the next one? Because we're now on Article 2, which is to pass over. The motion was to pass over Article 2. One thing I forgot to say earlier, folks, and please, we're doing a lot of things new here, so please be patient with everybody on this. I would appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, good. So, the motion was to pass over Article 2. So, open voting. Okay, it's open now. That's a little clock thing. Close voting. The vote is 250 to pass over Article 2, 11 no, the total vote of 261. So 250 to 11. Vote is closed on that. Now we're going to move to Article 3. Is there a motion for Article 3?
Yes, Mr. Moderator.
Yes.
I move that the town vote to transfer the sum of $81,611.00 from FY 2025 appropriation insurance account number 0100-945-5700-5743 to fund and implement the cost items of the first fiscal year of the collective bargaining agreement between the town of Upton and local firefighters union 5116, International Association of Firefighters, AFL-CIO, and the implementation of call department wage adjustments.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Finance Committee recommendation?
Favorable action, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Okay. Seeing none, open voting. Close voting. Vote is yes, 254, no, 17. Okay, next. So, Article 4. This is the budget process. So this is what's going to happen during the budget process. In your Finance Committee reports, this booklet here, okay? If you open this up to page 15, look right up to page 15, let me show you logistically what we're going to do, and then after that I'll have the Finance Committee make any comments if they wish to. So what's going to happen is, we're going to go department by department, and I will ask if anybody wants to hold an item within that department. So the line you want to look at, you notice there's 4 columns. Fiscal year 24 approved, fiscal year 25, and then Finance Committee fiscal year 2026. That is the number that we are looking at in the budget. Okay? The number after that is the percent change up or down. So as I go through department by department, that third column is the number that you need to be looking at. So, just so you know, those of you who have been doing this for many years, these are available many weeks ahead of time. So everyone has a chance to take a look at these online. The books get together a week or so ahead of the meeting here. So if this is the first time you're looking at it, and you're thinking, oh, I want to hold this, I want to hold that, consider the fact that you really need to do your homework before you get here, just like everyone else is doing their homework to get things done ahead of time. Having said that, we go through this process. It's like everything else, checks and balances. Okay? You go department by department, and if you know you want to hold something because you have a question upon it, you have the right to do that. That's why we do this. Okay? And then at the very end, anything that's not been held, we will then have a vote on that, to vote on it, and then we'll go through each held item. I want to ask the technology people, for the items that get held, we will discuss them and then vote on them. How long does it take you to set those up? Or are they set up automatically? And that's my question.
If the names are short, like it won't take that long to type through.
So why don't we do this? So Sue, it's important that you keep track of the things which are held so that you can get prepared for those when we come back. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, good. Okay, Mr. Flaherty, did you want to make any comment regarding the budget this year?
No, sir.
It's all
It's there.
self-explanatory. Okay, thank you, sir. All right, great. Please, yes, just do that.
Paul Flaherty, 29 Taft Street. I move that the town vote to fix the salaries and compensation of all officers of the town as provided by Mass General Laws, Chapter 41, Section 108 as amended, and to raise and appropriate $29,937,027 to defray the expenses of the town departments for the ensuing year, as set forth in items identified as total budget to be voted within the document entitled Finance Committee Report, Town of Upton, Massachusetts, Fiscal Year 2026 Budget Recommendations, and not requested hold as amended, if applicable, by vote of town meeting for those items requested hold.
Second?
Second. Second. And I know, thank you, sir. And this is the FinCom recommendation, so I know that that's highly.
Okay, so, hopefully you're still on page 15. Again, I will go department by department, and if anything is to be held, just yell hold, and I'll ask you to state the specific, just tell me the last 4 numbers in the line item so that I can quickly get to that. Okay, first department is town meetings, elections. Next department, town moderator. Next, select board. Hold the select board. Please tell me the specific last four digits. Let's see. Which number? 5100. 5100. That would be the $259,000 number, correct? 259,000 and change? That's the one, okay, that is held. Select board, salaries is being held. Okay? Next department, town manager, finance committee, reserve fund, finance department, capital budget committee, legal department, personnel, hold on personnel. Please give me the last four digits.
5100.
5100, human resources, wages. You got that? Human resources, wages, thank you. Tax title foreclosure, management information systems, town clerk, registrar of voters, conservation commission, planning board, housing authority, town public buildings, police, fire EMS department, land use and inspectional services, formerly called code enforcement, emergency management, animal control, DPW parks, forestry, and cemetery, education, DPW highway construction maintenance, DPW snow and ice removal, waste removal, cemetery, Board of Health, health services, elder and social services, council on aging, veterans, library, beach, historical commission, retirement of debt, debt service interest, state assessments, retirement, unemployment compensation, payroll taxes, Medicare, liability insurance, trust fund commission, transfers out, warrant articles, DPW, Board of Health, Elder and Social Services Council on Aging. Okay, thank you, yeah. We'll just incorporate it in there, thank you. Library, beach, what? Wait a minute. Sorry, okay, I kept, all right. What, okay. I need to ask a question. Every year we go through this process, I just go through the list of things. So why is it that we need to stop in the middle of it? I don't understand.
I don't think the articles and the revolving fund have been part of the book before. Is that the difference? It usually ends right at the general fund.
Page 33. Sorry, folks, let's see. 33, okay. All right, thank you. So, I should have stopped. Okay, if you go to page 33, please, where it says transfers out, that is where the process should have stopped. The other things are things that we have either voted on or will vote on later on. Okay. So, FinCom, could I ask you a favor? In the future, make sure it's clear where it ends, so that because it looks like it's all part of the same thing, you know what I mean? Thank you very much. Okay, good. So, that's the whole process. We had, I think it was 2 holds, is that correct? Denise, 2?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 2 holds. Okay, fine. What we're going to do now is, again, go through the process of voting unanimously to accept all the things that were not held. So we'll go through that process again, just so that we have a chance to practice this and see how it all works. Okay. So, are we all set? Open voting. Uh-oh. Did you open it? Yeah, now it's open. Now start voting. Close voting. So the vote to accept the budget by unanimous consent is 260 yes, 15 no. Okay. Now we'll go back to the 2 that were held. We'll have discussion on that, if there is any, and then we'll vote on those individually. Okay? So, let's see what ones those were. From my understanding, page 15, Select Board, number 0100122, 5100, 5100, page 15, the item that was held, Select Board salaries, is that correct? Okay, so, the person who held, you can come to the microphone. One of the things I forgot to mention, when you come to speak, the very first time you speak, please state your name and address. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Mike Moran, 102 High Street, Upton. Questions for the Board of Selectmen. What's the breakdown of this? This number's just grouped in one big number. There's got to be a breakdown on it. For the Selectmen.
Selectman, want to address that, please?
Yes, can everyone hear me? So I can read out loud the breakdown for what constitutes the $259,889, if that would be helpful for town meeting. Okay, so first executive assistant, $70,239. Next item, town manager, $170,850. Municipal hearing officer, $2,500. Procurement stipend, $3,500. Step increase, this is for town manager pending negotiations and annual evaluation with the town manager, $8,000. And department, vehicle stipend of $4,800.
Okay, that's the breakdown. Okay, so
basically, the assistant's getting a raise on it, and then when you look at the rest line item, like the hearing officer, isn't that done by the HR person?
Correct, that is currently being done by the HR director.
Yes, so
Mr. Ryan?
she's not gonna be doing it at that point, he's trying to say.
Mr.
This
Williams?
is, through the town moderator, this budget line item, the municipal hearing officer has traditionally been in the town manager and select board budget item. So rather than transferring this to the HR personnel line, it is being maintained within the select board town manager budget.
So that's being maintained in the Board of Selectmen, okay? Any other discussion?
Yeah, and then,
Mr. Ryan? Okay.
and the steps, this job is on contract, there's no steps in that position.
Okay, anybody else? Ms. Brown?
This contract hasn't been negotiated by the Board of Selectmen. The Select Board has not reviewed the town manager's contract, just the union, just like union contracts, DPW director contract, and police chief contract are not front-loaded for the town meeting, and are either negotiated before town meeting or after town meeting. Again, I say, as a board, we have not negotiated with the town management regarding this salary, which includes those $3,500 for stipend, $8,000 for step, and $4,800 for the vehicle. I would like to request from the FinCom to amend this, to bring it back to the salary that is being received this year, and give the selectmen the opportunity to negotiate any increases. We have had no say in these increases, and that's all. I request town meeting to vote for the amendment.
So is there an official amendment that's being made? And if there is, I need it in writing. And so having said that, FinCom, have you heard what was said? Is there anything that can be done with regard to this, or is this something that we can't deal with tonight?
I don't want to say that I'm throwing anybody under the bus here, Mr. Moderator, but I thought this, these numbers were all gone through by the selectmen, they were all reviewed and reviewed again by the finance committee.
Okay.
So I understand Madam, Mrs. Winnell's position, and, you know, that's going to be up to the body here.
The body to vote on. Okay, fine.
Historically,
Yeah.
Mrs. Winnell is correct that these contracts are not funded up until they're negotiated.
Right.
Okay? You had an example here earlier tonight
Correct.
where the fire contract
Yes.
was not funded. It gets funded, now everything is retroactive
Yep.
to the date of the contract. But I believe the manager has a contract that expires in 27. Is that?
Is that correct, and does that have anything to do with this? So, okay, so,
I would respond to that also. Every year, we review the contract for any increases.
so,
That hasn't happened yet. And he's clarified the $3,500 for the procurement stipend goes to the executive assistant because she's also certified as a procurement officer.
okay. So, I'm going to try to ask the question from the perspective of a voter out there. I don't quite understand what it is that we're dealing with here in terms of what has to be amended, how does that change this number, and is this something that should be dealt with before we get to town meeting floor? I really need to ask that question, because it's confusing where this conversation's going.
I don't see how it's confusing.
Well, it's confusing from the perspective of, I'm trying to think of it in terms of like a regular voter out there.
But the numbers were put in too soon, and the selectmen haven't done it.
Okay?
So,
FinCom?
you then lose your negotiating power.
Okay. FinCom?
Steve Byrne, 2
Yeah,
Victoria
please.
Drive. So I can just explain how we've gotten to this number. Town manager's contract is $167,500 is what he started at. The number that we have in this budget is the 2% COLA, which everyone gets. What everyone else gets also is called a merit increase, which is based on our compensation plan, which is 2.4 to 2.5%. What is in this budget is a 5% buffer negotiation that is in there based on what he's gotten in the past. So this that we're voting on does not mean he gets paid that. They have to approve his contract. This is giving them funding to negotiate that. So we can do it the other way. We can lower it. We're just going to be back here.
But you know the difference is in money, it's almost $30,000. That's not 5%.
There's no $30,000.
Well, if you add all the stuff they're adding to it, it comes out to almost $30,000. So he's going from, he's going up to 86,000 from 57,000, 100.
Okay, folks, you know what? This kind of detail should not be dealt with on town meeting floor. This sort of detail.
Absolutely should be.
Well, that's not the.
Absolutely should be.
Okay, I am not going to get into the weeds with this. What we're voting on is a total amount of money, select board salaries. These things have to be dealt with before we get to this particular level. There was a time, please bear with me, there was a time many years ago when individual salaries were in this budgetary process. And people would hold individual salaries as part of this whole process. We have moved away from holding individual salaries and instead looking at department salaries, so that those details can be worked out in a more appropriate manner whenever they need to get worked out. And that detail shouldn't be done here with regard to holding positions to deal with a particular individual salary. So that's the thing that we cannot do here on town meeting floor. That's got to be done at a different time and place. So therefore, we need to come to some resolution on this so that we can deal with the issue. Seems like you have an issue with this, I understand that. But those details cannot be negotiated here tonight. That's my point.
Calling the horse before the peg.
Excuse me?
They haven't reviewed them yet, they said that, and you appropriate money to give, you lose your negotiating power. Just like the police and fire, they negotiate, like Paul said, now they appropriate the money for the fire department, they negotiate it. So if we come up in November's meeting, and we appropriate money, and that person gets paid, back paid for negotiations, that's how it works. Paul said it right then.
Can I just make one thing? The 157 that you're referring to?
Yeah.
The 157 that you're referring to was before his contract was approved by the select board. The select board approved the 167.5 after the budget. So you're looking at 157 to 170, that is not accurate. He's already getting
186 and change it comes out to, you add all the numbers up.
Through the moderator.
Hey, that's how it works, you gotta do the math, do the finance committee, do the math.
I did the math.
Okay, guys, hey, gentlemen,
This paper, it's on there.
Mr. Moran, please stop. Mr. Brown.
Mr. Moderator, if this goes through, then you're taking the authority of the Board of Selectmen away from me. I've been in government 36 years and I've negotiated a lot of contracts and we never front-loaded a thing.
I'm not talking about whether we're front-loading anything. I'm saying details like this should be dealt with on town meeting floor.
Excuse me, Mr. Moderator, but it is being front-loaded. That gives us no negotiation power at all. It's already there. And their answer is, well, town meeting voted it. I want town meeting to know what they're voting.
Fair enough.
Okay.
That's good. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there isn't. And we did not look at the detail. We put that in the hands of the town manager.
Oh, you should have looked at the detail.
Yes, we
Well,
should have.
Okay.
Shame on us,
So,
but
okay.
I'm
Mr.
going to
Ansel.
take that away.
All right, folks. Everyone needs to take a deep breath. Okay. I don't know what the solution to this is yet, and it is not my job to solve the problems between, folks, please. There is clearly an issue here with regard to details about salaries. Mr. Moran, please, Mr. Ensko, please. The only point I'm trying to make is that the details that individuals are trying to get into tonight need to be dealt with at some other time and place, not here this evening. So, having said that, how the process works with respect to either front loading or back loading or whatever, I am not part of that. I don't want to be a part of that. But clearly, this sort of thing, whatever's going on here now, has to be dealt with somewhere else, so that when we come to the meeting and someone has a hold on this sort of thing, we don't get into the mud and the details. That's all I'm saying. So therefore, we have to come up with some way to resolve this for now, and then later on, there needs to be further discussion to make sure we fix whatever the issue is, so that everyone can walk away being okay with it, even if they're not happy with it. So, who wants to talk next?
Mr. Moderator, may I
Yes,
make
sir.
a suggestion?
Please.
Would it be real simple just to remove the $8,000 and then move forward? Would that put this issue to bed? Mr. Moran? Or through the moderator?
Yes.
Mr. Running place.
Sure. So therefore, what would the recommended number be then, so we can move on?
$8,000.
For,
Less.
or less, so in other words, if the number was 251,889, everybody would be okay with that for now, and then you deal with whatever issue you have to deal with later, correct?
I believe so.
Okay. Finance Committee?
Yeah.
This is, okay. We all set with that? Beautiful. Thank you very much. So so what's the official motion then? What is the appropriate what number? 251,889. Select board salaries. Okay, second?
Second.
Any further debate? Thank you. Okay. Can we have a motion for that number from the technology people so that we can vote on it electronically? Oh, look at that. Okay, that's pretty good, guys. Thank you. Nice job. Okay. We all set, folks? Ready, set, open voting. Close voting. The vote is yes, 233, no, 44. The motion passes by majority. Okay. Next. One other thing was held. Personnel board, personnel wages. The number we're looking at is 110,751. That was held. Anybody want, who never held it? Do you want to come up and discuss that?
Hi,
Sue Perry, 24 Hazeltine Road. I need a breakdown of that, the wage.
Okay, so let me just make a general comment. I don't mind having a breakdown, but what we cannot do is get into the weeds like we did with the last one.
I don't agree with the wage.
Thank you. Fair enough. So is there a breakdown at all that we have here? Oh, this is just a one number, right? Salary. Okay, so that's the number. The salary for, I guess that's an individual person, I guess, then, because there's no other breakdown? Thank you. Okay, any more discussion?
Diane Tiernan, 51 Milton Street. Does this position pertain to the HR director? Is that where we are? Okay, can somebody just tell me 35, I believe the figure is 3,500, that is not going to be done by the HR director? Is that going to be subtracted from the salary?
Okay, there's a question about whether or not some $3,500 number, and again, we've got to be real careful with
These
these.
numbers need to be disclosed. I know we're grouping everything together, but that's not fair to people. I think we all need to know exactly what we're voting for. As a town employee, I think we need to disclose what we're voting for. I believe the figure is 3,500. That is not going to be done by the HR director.
If you're referring through the town moderator, building town manager, if you're referring to hearing officer stipend, which is part of a employment agreement, that is 2,500, not 3,500.
Okay.
And the wages for the HR director, the total is $110,751.
Okay.
So is that 2,500 going to be?
That will be added on top of that, yes.
So that'll be an additional to that particular amount of money. Okay.
So we're not going to.
Again, okay.
Being done by
FinCom?
So the HR director doesn't do it.
Doesn't do procurement, but does still do municipal hearing.
Okay. So, Mr. Mayor, before you speak, I just want to make a general statement about the history of where we are now. For good or bad, if things used to be done a certain way a long time ago, things have changed over the years. Some people agree with those changes, some people don't agree with those changes. My feelings don't matter at all in this. The situation is what it is in terms of how we get to this budget process. So, having said that, we have to deal with the reality of where we are, like it or not, but also have, yes, an honest discussion about what's an appropriate thing to, let's say, give someone based on what the specific jobs that that person has. Those are fair questions. But we've got to remember, we can't cross certain lines in terms of details that are not appropriate to be dealt with here. So that's a fine line. I appreciate and understand that. Mr. Moran.
Mike Moran, 102 High Street. I only have a couple questions. So this position follows the same rules that every town hall hours are? So 8 to 5, Monday through Thursday, half a day on Friday, right? That's the town manager.
Okay. Question about hours.
Through the town moderator, this is a HR management issue, and that it gets a little sensitive when starting to discuss specific matters like this on town meeting floor. When it's acknowledged that there are many employees within town hall that have some level of flexibility due to the demands of the position. Regarding this, there's an employment agreement that was in place last year that identified the flexibility, and that continues to be legally binding.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Moran. Next.
The only thing, we're not going to be hiring anybody else for the position, right? To help out. Not looking to hire another employee or part-time employee, right?
Through the town moderator, any sort of additional personnel that get added to the town of Upton, first, while it may be evaluated and a recommendation provided by department heads as well as the town manager to the select board, it's up to the select board and the finance committees to fund said positions. So it is not something that gets arbitrarily added for any department within town hall.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
That's
FinCom?
that's all my questions, the answer I have answered, there's nothing else to that.
We all set?
I'm going to
FinCom?
Right, everybody that's worried that there isn't transparency here, and that's what I'm hearing. This is just a cover page. It was a document that was put out sometime middle, end of February. It's called Town Manager's Budget Recommendation Fiscal Year 2026. This has been online. It's been out there. It's, I don't know, 130 pages. It's online. Every one of these items, every one of these minutia items that we're talking about here is spelled out in there. It tells you where every number in whatever line item, and whatever total line here, whatever number that is, that ties back in this town manager's budget recommendation. It's all there, okay? This, as Mr. Moderator just alluded, we used to go back, used to be's don't count anymore, but every line item, going down to the fact that somebody was buying a newspaper, the New York Times, the treasurer was buying the New York Times. That was a line item in the budget. People voted for it. In an effort to streamline the process, I don't remember how many years ago, but it hasn't been that many, we eliminated all these line items and just basically salaries and expenses. That's what you're saying. All right, this is there for people to see. You just have to know where to go. There is no intent to hide anything. Everything is out there. You just have to know where to look. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Flaherty. We do need a number.
Would you like a motion now, Mr. Moderator?
Please, Mr. Flaherty. Thank you.
I believe the motion is $110,751 for the salaries of personnel.
Okay, second? Moved and seconded. The technology folks, do you have that ready to throw up on the board? Okay. Just so folks know, many of these motions are already set, ready to go to vote, but things that are added new, they have to be created. So that's the reason why this happens. You just can't press a button and have it show up, so they got to create that. Okay, I think we're here. Human resources, okay, this is it. This is what we're going to be voting on. Okay. So, are you all set down there, guys? Open voting. Close voting. Okay, the vote is yes 189, no 95. The motion passes by a majority. And we are done with the budget. Thank you, folks. All right. So, Article 5 was on the consent calendar. 6 was on the consent calendar. 7 was on the consent calendar. 8 is on the consent calendar. We just saved 20 minutes there, folks. Okay. Article 9. Who's got the motion for Article 9, please? And then, Mr. Fowler.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $160,000 to the general stabilization account.
Okay, second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to transfer $160,000 to general stabilization account. Finance committee recommendation,
Favorable, Mr. Moderator.
favorable action, any discussion? Okay, this only requires a majority vote, so, let me get my timer. You voting over there? Open voting. Close voting. The vote is yes 253, no 18. Article 10.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $300,000 to capital stabilization.
Second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, transfer $300,000 capital stabilization. FinCom recommendation.
Favorable, Mr. Moderator.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, seeing none. Open voting. Close voting. Okay, vote, 245 yes, 20 no. Article 11. Open.
I don't know how I got this one, Mr. Moderator.
Yeah, you got it.
I move the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $150,000 to other post-employment benefit liability trust fund.
Second, moved and seconded to transfer $150,000 into the OPEB fund. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, open voting. Close voting. Close voting, thank you. That's all right. It is closed. The vote is 241 yes, 31 no. Article 12.
Article 12, I move that the town vote to create a new special purpose stabilization fund named the Upton Community Center Playground Capital Improvement Stabilization Fund, and to transfer from free cash the sum of $45,000 and 0 cents into the new Upton Community Center Playground Capital Improvement Stabilization Fund.
Second, moved and seconded. Finance committee recommendation.
Favorable action, Mr. Moderator.
Favorable action. So just a couple of points on the article. The number originally was 120, now it's 45. That's fine, not a problem. This does require a 2/3 majority vote because we are creating a stabilization fund. So you'll notice, if you can see up or left, it says 2/3 majority. So it requires 2/3 of you to vote yes for this to pass, essentially. Okay, any discussion? Okay, seeing none, open voting. Close voting. Okay, the voting is yes 250, no 33. That passes by 2/3 majority. Yep. Article 13. Oh, we did that? Consent calendar. 14. Road construction appropriation.
Article 14, I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $600,000 and 0 cents to be used for the construction and/or improvement of town roads to supplement those provided for under the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Mass General Law, Chapter 90 program, including all expenses incidental and related.
Second? Second. Moved and seconded to transfer $600,000, thank you. Finance Committee recommendation?
Favorable.
Favorable action by the FinCom, any discussion? Okay, seeing none, open voting. Close voting. The vote is 266 yes, 17 no. Article 15.
Article 15, revised. I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $66,149.19 to fund the snow and ice deficit for fiscal year 2025.
Okay. Second FinCom recommendation.
Favorable action, Mr. Moderator.
Favorable action by the FinCom, and as you notice, the number is a little bit less, even down to the penny. Oh my goodness. Very good. So, any discussion? Okay, seeing none, open voting. Close voting. Okay, vote 256 to 22. Okay, 16, consent calendar, free cash. 17, A, B, and C, all consent calendars. 18, community preservation funds, affordable housing trust. Who's got the motion? Mr. Porter.
Richard Porter, 34 William Street. I move that the town vote to transfer from CPA Affordable Housing Reserve account the sum of $160,000.00 to the Upton Affordable Housing Trust, with such funds to be used in accordance with the CPA statuses and guidelines for the construction of an affordable housing unit on 28 Hartford Avenue.
Second.
FinCom recommendation, thank you.
Favorable action.
Favorable action, Community Preservation Committee recommendation.
Favorable action.
Favorable action by the CPC and the FinCom. Any discussion? Looks like we have some discussion. Right, state your name and address, please.
Sue Rover, 2 Cape Way. My question is there anyone here from affordable housing tonight who can just very briefly give an overview? And the reason I ask it is because there have been no meeting minutes posted online for Affordable Housing Trust since last summer.
Okay, anybody here from housing, I guess, or CPC or whatever to discuss this?
Clicker keeps whacking my knuckles.
Sorry.
My name is Kathy Robertson, 59 Fowler Street, and I'm the chair of the Affordable Housing Trust. And Sue, there have been a number of meetings. We've been actually meeting monthly for the past approximately year. So basically what the status of this is, and I think people are pretty much aware of it, it's a very derelict house that really presents a public hazard on Hartford Avenue. I always get this wrong. North? Yes, okay. I always get the, 28 Hartford Avenue North, right up there. And it was purchased at auction from the town probably about 7 or 8 years ago, and it's been sitting there and it's been declining. Under the terms of the Affordable Housing Trust, is it has to be used for affordable housing. So there were no other options except to put an affordable unit there. I do want to say that this is a totally new trust that's been established. So we kind of have this albatross around our neck. And after about a year and a half of deliberating and listening to the neighbors and trying to figure out other options and looking at other possibilities, we decided that the best option was to work with the Habitat for Humanity to develop a single unit of housing there. And we have worked with them. They are willing to do it. We did go out to, did an RFP to solicit interest in the parcel. Habitat is the only entity that was interested in developing that site. So basically, there are other people from the Affordable Housing Trust here tonight, but basically, from my standing and from my position, is we want this done. The neighbors have been extremely, extremely patient. They've been telling us when trees go down, when people have access to the house. They've been absolutely wonderful. They've always been very nice about it. But we also just want to move forward so we can look at our mandate of creating more affordable housing in Upton, and it's very difficult to do when we have this one unit out there. So does that answer your questions?
Is that okay? Okay, thank you. Next, any other discussion?
Stephen Taylor, 19 Hartford Ave North. I'm living just across the street from the property. I'm happy to see it become a affordable housing project. I just question whether or not $160,000 is enough to build a affordable housing unit at the going rates. If the bidding has gone, or do we know how much that's going to cost to build that structure?
Okay, good question. Kathy?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Habitat for Humanity did submit a proposal. Their way of doing these type of projects is it's a third, and a third. And a third is coming from the Upton Affordable Housing Trust. The total amount, Brian Gallagher could know this in a heartbeat, is $503,000 is what they have proposed for the demolition for the entire project. So our nut is about $160,000 from the Affordable Housing Trust.
Okay. Thank you. Any other discussion? Yes, sir.
Ludlow Franklin, 27 Hartford Avenue North. Is there a guarantee it will be one unit versus multiple units?
Okay, number of units.
Yeah, I mean, the proposal we have, we did look at the duplex, and the duplex actually costs more than a single unit. So the proposal in front of us that we have approved, and we're waiting approval from this meeting to allow us to spend the money, is for a single unit.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none. Hang on a sec. We are open voting. Closed vote. The number is yes 240, no 39. Motion passes by a majority. Okay. Article 19.
Article 19, I move that the town vote to accept Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 108P, entitled Additional Compensation for Collectors or Treasurers.
Second? Moved and seconded. FinCom recommendation?
Favorable.
Thank you. Favorable action by the FinCom. Any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, open voting. Close voting. Okay. Vote yes, 225, no, 41. Article 21. 20, I'm sorry, 20, thank you.
Bill Taylor, 211 Moore Street. I
Yeah.
move that the town vote to accept Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 21A, entitled Additional Compensation of Assessors for Courses of Study.
Moved and seconded. FinCom recommendation?
Favorable.
Favorable action by the FinCom. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none. One of these motions, I'm going to say all those in favor. So I'm just telling you right now because I'm just so used to doing it, but I haven't done it yet. So, open voting. Close voting. Vote 240 yes, 32 no. Okay. Article 21.
Article 21, I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $11,935.32 and deposit said funds into the Affordable Housing Trust budget line number 2472-122-5700-5700.
Second.
Moved and seconded. FinCom recommendation.
Favorable action, Mr. Moderator.
Favorable action by the FinCom. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none. Open voting. Closed voting. Okay, the vote is 238 to 26. Okay. Next is Article 22.
Article 22, I move that the town vote pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 71, subsection 16G and a half, to approve the establishment of a stabilization account for the Blackstone Valley Vocational Regional School District as printed in the warrant.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. FinCom, any recommendation from you guys on this or not?
There is no appropriation, Mr. Moderator.
That's what I thought. Thank you. This only requires a majority vote, even though we had a previous one that created a stabilization account. It's because it's already been created, we're just joining it. So it only requires a majority vote. Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, open voting. Closed voting. Okay, let's see, the vote 238 to 29. Okay, so just a brief explanation of what's going to happen at this point in time. Articles 23, 24, and 25 all deal with Manhattan Regional School District debt authorization. There will be a presentation made by the school board on all three. So the presentation will be for all three things, and then we will look at each one individually as a motion article. When we have the motions, we will open it up to discussion from everybody at that point in time. And one other thing I just want to say, Mr. Byer here is going to be part of the presentation process. Mr. Byer was the moderator over in Mendon, and one of the things he said to me tonight was, now that you have the clickers, you will never have a unanimous vote again. So far, that's true. So,
Except on our articles.
except on, oh, very good, I like that. Okay. So, again, just state your name again, if you can, and then we will have the presentation by the school. And just so you know, you have a maximum of 20 minutes to make the presentation.
I heard that Mr. Moderator. Thank you. I'm Dr. Cohen, I'm Maureen Cohen. I'm the superintendent for Mendon Upton Regional. I'm here with Jay Byer, the Director of Finance and Operations.
Thank you.
And again, thank you for this opportunity for us to speak to our articles that are coming up. One thing I want to let you know is it won't be 20 minutes. All right.
Thank you.
Because I heard that big sigh. I'm going to go as fast as I can. All right. We have 3 that are coming forward. We have the roof, facilities, and fields and grounds. To begin, why are we here? I think this is the most important slide that we have because it gives you a sense of how old our buildings are. When you walk in the front door here at Nipmuc, it looks beautiful. Our maintenance staff, they're incredible. Some of them are in the room, and they do an amazing job. But we have old buildings, aging facilities that we need to invest in again. And when you look at the timeline on the bottom, you can see we had major investments that took place when we renovated Misco, we built Nipmuc, and then later on, some of you think it just happened the other day who have been living in these towns, but Memorial and Clough, that was actually close to 22 years ago. We've received some questions as this seems like the first time we've heard of this happening in the last couple of years, but this is a reminder. We've been working on this for a decade, and when we go all the way back, for those who were working on early field updates and explorations here at Nipmuc for field improvements, and then when it's my 12th year in the district, my 4th year as superintendent, when I came on board, all we've been doing is talking about facility improvements since I came on board as superintendent. We hired Habib and Associates. They did a facility assessment. They came up with $90 million worth of facility improvements. We're not bringing that much here today because we formed a capital planning subcommittee that worked diligently over the course of the last 3 years to come forward with what we're asking today. Something else I want to point out, because I'm about to show you some pictures of aging aspects of our facilities, and sometimes we might get the question, are we maintaining it? We do adhere to the school maintenance best practices. On the side, you'll have a lot of examples of what we have done. For occupant health and safety, Homeland Security assessment was done a couple years ago. We have a couple aspects that are in this related to security. I mentioned the facilities assessment. We formed a capital planning subcommittee, and we've been working on capital planning the last number of years. We've had community surveys for feedback to help drive our decision making. We have a district strategic plan, and we have a comprehensive maintenance plan that was approved by the state when we had to submit it for MSBA approval. Hopefully you all have the flyer that has all the details here, so I won't go through that. I'll begin with the first article that will come forward, and that's a roof project here at Nipmuc. We have 3 main aspects of that: the shingle roof, the membrane, and the air handlers and HVAC. It's really important for you to understand that we have really great news. We were accepted into the Accelerated Repair Program for MSBA, which is the Massachusetts School Building Authority. And as a result of being accepted into that program, we'll be receiving 52.26% reimbursement from MSBA if it goes through and is approved at both town meetings and both ballot votes. It's important to know that if it's not approved, we would then be removed from their pipeline, and they used to do it annually, they only do the ARP every 2 years. So if we didn't get it approved, we'd have a roof that's closer to 31 years old, still leaking. And so it's important that we're able to move forward in that aspect. This is a great image just to give you a sense of how large our roof is, and the shingle roof here, it's close to 28 years old. Anyone who has a house or is familiar with items and when they start to go, it's around 20 to 30 years for a roof, and it is going, and I'm going to show you an example in a minute. I talked about the shingles and the EPDM membrane. They are reimbursable by the state. We will also be replacing the HVAC equipment, including rooftop units. They're inefficient. It wouldn't make sense to, when we take them off to fix the roof, to put on 30-year-old HVAC units and air handling units. And so that's why it's but that part won't be reimbursable with the state. This is just an example, in case you're not aware. When I walk in the back door from the faculty parking lot, the first thing I see if it's rained is a bucket in the hallway. When I turn to the left, I look into the music room, which is right over here. That tarp is always in the music room because anytime it rains, it leaks in our music room. When I walk to the main office, that's right over here. I took that picture 2 weeks ago, and we do replace them, so we don't have damaged tiles. But when I walk upstairs, I'll see pouring water in our social studies hallway through grates. That's the state that we're at today and why we're here on this. Jay's going to speak to all of the financial slides in the presentation.
I get the fun part, the money part.
I hope the sound system's silent.
Yeah, we could add the sound system at that point, maybe. But I believe Mr. Flaherty doesn't need a mic, so we don't need to worry about that for you. Yeah, don't get into our time. All right, so this whole entire roof project, total cost looks a little bit over $10.6 million. The reimbursement we anticipate from MSBA is about $4.3 million, so we're anticipating the total cost to the taxpayers will be about $6.3 million. It will get split between the two towns based on the enrollment at this school over the 20 years, so it gets adjusted every single year. The reimbursement is 52.26%, but that's what we expect is going to come out of the finance part of this piece.
Just so you know, at the end, we also will be sharing with you the tax impact when you see these large numbers and how it will play out for you. The next project we're bringing forward is a facilities project. It impacts all of our schools. The first element that we need to replace is our building management systems. We need to replace these obsolete systems. If you're unfamiliar with what a building management system is, it's the brains of our heating, cooling, and air exchange. We have unavailable parts and failing pneumatic systems that are demanding us to have urgent upgrades, and that's why this is in the plan for all 4 buildings. The next item, we have 2 items related to safety and security. Both of these came out of our facilities assessment. They also came out of our Homeland Security assessment that we had of all of our schools, and were identified as top items for security that would really enhance the security of our schools. First, we have a key card access security system. Currently, we have the keys that are original to the buildings, and remember how old those buildings were. If we had the key card access system like you do in many businesses or other locations, it allows us to have single point of access and better monitoring of who's coming in and out of our buildings. Secondly, that's my second favorite picture in the whole presentation. This is at Misco Hill Middle School, and this is our paging and timekeeping system, our clock, and many of you may still remember it if you went through Misco, but unfortunately is not working to the degree that it would need to, and across all of the buildings we're looking to replace our paging systems. This is a huge security. If anything happened in the buildings, we need to be able to have everyone hear what's going on for obvious reasons in all of our locations. The next slide relates just to Nipmuc. You are sitting in these seats that look really pretty from far away in that picture, but when you get up close, you're sitting in, close to 30-year-old seats. We have broken seats. Sorry for those that are in the broken seats. There are about 50 of them in here. We need to replace these because of the age, and we're at a point where we can't replace any of the broken seats. We have more than 50 in the auditorium. If you look closely at the carpet in here, that's the middle upper picture, and that is the ripped carpet in here, and it's just getting larger every year. And the bottom is classroom carpeting as well. And on the right, we need to replace our data cabling here. We did this a number of years ago at Misco, and it was really helpful. What we have is equipment, and think about it, close to 2,000 or 2,400 devices every day in this building. And it is working off of systems right there that you see in that picture, which are from 1996, and they're not compatible. They drop out, and they don't work well. This is my favorite picture. We have on the left the oil field transformer from Misco Hill from 1958, and it has clearly exceeded the 20 to 30 year lifespan and a high failure risk. On the right, we have a switchgear that is associated with the transformer. We also will be coming forward with an ask for a generator I'll talk about in a second, but in order to have a generator, we need to upgrade the switchgear, and we know that if we pull the master switch down, we're told not to do that because the power will will likely never come back on at NISCO. What we need to do is also, I've been talking about this for a while, the lady who's been on committees with me, the fact that we do not actually have a generator at Misco Hill. So what does that mean? If you're a parent, you know what it means, because if your kids went through Misco, I probably had to call a special day off for them because power goes out and there's issues. We don't have standby. We have a lot of power coming in from Mendon and Upton into Misco. It goes out a lot lately, and it's darkness in the building. We need to work with middle schoolers in the dark buildings, and also there's no power to the water and flushing. Misco Hill bathrooms and lockers and flooring. Just so you know, Misco Hill, when it was renovated, was for a K-5 school, and so the bathroom fixtures are low to the ground and not appropriate for 5 through 8 students. That's the image there. Those lockers in the middle need to be replaced. They were not part of the renovation, and all the other lockers are fine, but those need to be replaced. We've been working on our flooring, but with grant funds, but we haven't been able to, we ran out of grant funds to do that, so we need to do the rest of the flooring. And finally, at Memorial and Clough Elementary School, we have window sealants around the windows that are more than 20 years old and drying up and need to be redone. And you can see, I took that picture in the middle the other day. That's when you're going up into Clough Elementary. We do our best to try to repair the curbing, but it's getting to a point where it ends up looking like that every year.
All right, so the money part. Push this up. I don't know if everyone can hear me with these great mics. The total cost for all of these facility projects is about a little under $11.6 million. You can see the breakout by the 4 different schools. Obviously, the majority of the money is going into Nipmuc and Misco Hill, which is where our greatest needs are. Clough and Memorial are still newer buildings. But we'll talk about the tax impact on all of this a little bit further on. But we're looking at about $11.6 million for this part of the project.
And finally, we have the Fields and Grounds project. I'll talk about the impact at Misco, then the Nipmuc backfield, and then the Nipmuc front fields. This is a recent drone footage of our Misco Hill Fields and Grounds, the area that we would be redoing. I probably don't need to say any more, but I'll just give you the facts. This is some of the most used fields that we have in the district. It's used by softball, baseball, field hockey, soccer, all of our youth sports, flag football, etc. We need to renovate it, regrade it, and irrigate it. The reason why it's looking like this, these are the original fields from 65 years ago. They're greatly compacted. They've never been redone. And the irrigation, we need an irrigation system in there. We have one up on the upper field, and those fields are fine. It is a safety concern, and we need to continue to use the field here across the board. For Nipmuc Fields and Grounds, I'll just give an overview, then I'll show you some pictures so you can see what I'm talking about. Similar uneven terrain, divots and holes, safety issues. A lot of people might not be aware that we have an amazing track and field team, amazing. We don't have a track. We have no track and field. We can never host an event. They do hurdles in the cafeteria, they run in the halls, and they run in your neighborhoods. They need a track. They have to rent out other schools in order to host events. We do not have lighting on any of our fields at the high school. That is highly unusual to have no lighting at any field in a high school. What that means is obviously you can't have the teams playing beyond like that when the sun goes down in those winter months. What it also means is you can't expand the utilization for all of the youth sports beyond in those hours to come in and play after. And it also means you can't have your Friday night lights, you can't have your week, we only have 1 week of lights where we pay for lights to come in, and thousands of people come, and it's an amazing community experience, and that's what we're hoping to be able to have all of the time. And then finally, I'm greatly concerned about the lack of accessibility to the fields for emergency vehicles and for anybody with mobility issues. If you see the flooded area right there, that picture in the upper left, that would end up being paved as part of our project. We would be able to get emergency vehicles and vehicles to work on the fields. To give you a sense of impact for community, we would be building a community path all around these fields. This is a picture of all of our fields that you can see at Nipmuc, and it would be about 1 mile long, and we'd improve that emergency access. This is a picture of our Nipmuc backfields, focusing in on our baseball in the upper left and softball in the bottom right. We would be moving our baseball closer to the backstop. It's like the furthest away from a backstop I've ever seen in baseball. Softball would be reoriented to the right because it's actually not regulation where it hits those trees on the left and would be pulled back, and we would upgrade some of our irrigation systems. We do have irrigation. We have some wells we've been investing in, but we need to do all of the spigots and upgrade and fix them. The front field, this is from just a few weeks ago. You can see the damage right in the middle. It looked actually a lot worse when I saw lacrosse out there, by the goal line, because it's used so much. And we do have some irrigation there, but you can see where it's not working in areas or overuse. To understand, when Nipmuc was built, we didn't have a football team at the time. And so this field wasn't built for like stadium type of events. So the bleachers aren't big enough. We don't have anything else to, that you typically would have around the field. So we have our press box and, podium box on Pleasant. We have people standing on top of storage containers. And so when you look at our plan, we would be putting the track out there. We'd be turning and orienting the field so you could put the track around it. Anything in blue is around some of the additional parking and also the walking path around all of the fields. And by Pleasant Street, we would have like ADA access in order to get to bleachers that would be built into the side there.
All right, so this phase of the project is approximately $12 million split between MISCO and Nipmuc. You can see it's broken out between the two different schools. We do expect there will be a little bit of offset on the debt service on this in both towns through the use of CPA funds. Both CPA committees seem supportive of offsetting it, at least at a nominal level. Let me just take it out of the thing. That's better. Can you hear me now, Paul? Good. Right. All three projects, they total up just under $30 million, $29,895. Again, that's with the offset from MSBA reimbursement. That's putting all three projects together. If we look at the tax impact in the town of Upton, and we did discuss the tax impact with the town assessors in both towns to make sure that we had the right numbers. So Upton's on the right side there. So the average house in Upton, I believe, is about $650,000. So you're looking at somewhere between $360 and $400, depending on the value of your house. We do have a tax calculator on our website where you can look at your most recent property tax bill, put in your assessment, and it'll tell you what your tax impact will be for any combination of all three projects or all of them combined. This is all three projects together.
I can also add that we've been working with MUCP, the Mendon Upton Community Project, and if this goes through and the proposal for the field is approved on that element, they will be doing active fundraising that will help reduce and defray some of the cost as well.
Yeah, this would be the offset based on, both towns have discussed putting approximately $100,000 toward the debt service from CPA funds. So it's not, CPA is not going to save you $500,000, but it is going to save you enough, at least on your tax bill, by a little bit, depending on the value of your house. And then, Mr. Moderator, I think we're done. We're happy to answer questions now, or if you want to take them individually.
Well, one question would be, do you plan on looking at each motion independently? Because it was at that point I was thinking we could do a question and answer as we look at each motion.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Yeah, why don't we do it that way?
Okay.
Great, okay, good. Thank you very much for the presentation. Okay. So at this time, I would entertain a motion. I believe the first one is Article 23, correct? Okay, so motion to Article 23.
Jim Forkey, 70 Daniel Way. I move that the town approve the $10,657,452 borrowing authorized by the Mendon Upton Regional School District for the purpose of paying costs of roof replacement at the Nipmuc Regional High School located at 90 Pleasant Street, Upton, Massachusetts, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto, which proposed repair project would materially extend the useful life of the school and preserve an asset that otherwise is capable of supporting the required educational programs and for which the district has applied for a grant from the Massachusetts School Building Authority. Said amount to be expended under the direction of the school committee. The town acknowledges that the MSBA's grant program is a non-entitlement discretionary program based on need, as determined by the MSBA, and if that MSBA's board of directors votes to invite the district to collaborate with the MSBA on this proposed repair project and any project costs the district incurs in excess of any grant that may be approved by and received from the MSBA shall be the sole responsibility of the district, and that if invited to collaborate with the MSBA on the proposed repair project, the amount of borrowing authorized by the district shall be reduced by any grant amount set forth in the project funding agreement that may be executed between the district and the MSBA. This approval is expressly conditioned upon a vote of the town to exclude the amounts required to repay the town's allocable share of this debt from the limitation in local property taxes set forth in General Law, Chapter 59, Section 21C, also known as Proposition 2.5.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded, FinCom recommendation?
Favorable action, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. Can I have the motion, please? Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Okay, just the first one. Is it this one? Okay, thank you. To deal with the $10 million issue with regard to the Nipmuc roof replacement. Just as a general logistical point, these three articles that will become motions require only a majority vote. Something might think, shouldn't it be 2/3? Well, no, because a 2/3 vote happens at the school committee level. At the individual town level, it's a majority vote here, and then I believe at the ballot box it is, and also has to be voted on, and that has to be a majority vote. So it's here tonight, and then at the ballot box. Both have to pass by a majority for all three of these particular motions that are being made. So, any discussion on this motion with regard to the roof replacement? Yes, ma'am.
Marcella Strashna, 211 North Street. It's clear.
You have to speak up.
Keep a
Can't
little
hear you.
closer.
It's clear that there's water damage in the building.
Yeah.
My experience with water damage in buildings is there's always like something in the walls, there's rotting wood, it's not just what you're seeing. Has that been factored in, the additional damage that's likely to have occurred? And if not, is there insurance or is there some other source of funding for those?
Okay, so as a taking into account the damage that's already been done by the water, does somebody want to address that? Mr. Byer?
As we've had water damage over the years, we have corrected any issues that damage has caused, so we've dealt with that on an ongoing basis for the last 10 years or so that we've had the leaks in the roof.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay.
No. Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
Ludlow, 27 Harper Avenue North. It might be easier just to answer this question generally speaking.
Sir, could you use the microphone, please?
It might be easier to answer this question generally speaking for all three funds. We're looking at a 10, 20-year payment back.
Okay, so this is a general question regarding the funding aspect of things. Okay, that's fair enough.
So the financing on this would be done through the first couple of years. We would use 1-year bond anticipation notes, which are interest-only loans that get you through the construction so you can pay off the cost. Then we go for the actual borrowing. It goes out to bid, and it would be a 20-year bond.
Okay, 20-year bond. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, then this vote is going to be for the roof replacement here at Nipmuc and all those things included. So, open voting. Closed voting. The vote is 279 yes, 12 no. Okay? I'm sorry, 279, yes, 12, no. Thank you. Okay, next motion.
Article 24, I move that the town approve the $11,559,397 borrowing authorized by the Mendon Upton Regional School District for the purpose of paying costs of purchasing equipment and various upgrades and remodeling projects in and for the district's 4 schools, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto. This approval is expressly conditioned upon a vote of the town to exclude the amounts required to repay the town's allocable share of this debt from the limitation on local property taxes set forth in General Law, Chapter 59, Section 21C, also known as Prop 2.
Second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please, FinCom recommendation?
Favorable action, Mr. Monitor.
Favorable action by the FinCom. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing none, open voting. Close voting. The vote is 263 yes, 23 no. Okay, next motion.
I move that the town approve the $12,002,785 borrowing authorized by the Mendon Upton Regional School District for the purpose of paying costs of renovating and construction outdoor recreational facilities, press box, concession stand, bathrooms, and buildings at the district's Nipmuc School, and renovating and constructing outdoor recreational facilities at the district's Misco School, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto. This approval is expressly conditioned upon a vote of the town to exclude the amounts required to pay the town's allocable share of this debt from the limitation on local property taxes set forth in General Law, Chapter 59, Section 21C.
Second.
Moved and seconded, FinCom recommendation.
Favorable action.
Thank you. Favorable action by the FinCom. Any discussion? Seeing none, open voting. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Let's stop. Stop, hang on. Guys, relax. Yes, please. So, yeah, right. There was a question. I missed the person raising their hand.
Point of order.
I apologize for that.
Point of order.
Yes.
How can you do that?
How could I do it? It's because I made a mistake. I looked down. I didn't think, sir, you asked me a question. Let me answer the question. Okay? So, we're going to stop the voting because I missed the person's hand that was in the air as I was looking down, thinking there was no question. So they're going to reset this up again so that we can vote on it again after this lady has asked the question. We'll get it answered and then we'll move on to where we were. Ma'am, name and address, please.
Mary Overholt, 135 Glenview Street. I'm just wondering if the committee has looked into environmental concerns with the artificial turf field.
Okay. Question about environmental concerns regarding artificial turf fields.
Thank you for the question. We have, and I may have Mr. Casey help me out with some of the answers, but there's new turf, unlike the turf of long ago. I don't have the name of it in front of me, enviro-friendly, I think is what it is. Yeah, and so it's new turf that is more environmentally friendly than the turf that we've heard about and learned about long ago. Something else I'd like to point out too, because sometimes we get the injury question that might come up next.
Sure.
And with that, if you remember the turf of long ago, like when I played many years ago and first was introduced to turf, it was really hard. The turf of today in these fields is really soft, and actually the research talks about the safety on both levels.
Okay. Thank you. Any further discussion? Ms. Tanner?
Hi, I just have a general question. This may have already been answered, but if this has to go to Mendon as well, I believe, and if they vote this down, what's the plan?
So if something doesn't get voted amendment, Jay, do you want to address that, Mr. Byer?
Yes, this has to be voted positive at the town meeting in both towns and at the ballot in both towns. So it does require a positive vote in 4 places.
Okay.
I'd like to say that, you know, I'm from Mendon, so hopefully we'll get the same kind of vote we might hopefully get here.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Okay. Seeing none, open voting. Close voting. Thank you, folks. Okay, Article 26.
Article 26, I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $35,000.00 to contract with company for the purpose of producing a town hall building envelope and masonry restoration standards and specifications report, including all costs incidental and related.
Second? Moving to second, a FinCom recommendation.
Favorable action, Mr. Moderator.
Favorable action by the FinCom. Thank you. I'd like to ask folks to please keep it quiet as you're moving around. Thank you. Any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, open voting. Close voting. Okay, the vote is 186 yes, 23 no. Article 27. Angels.
Article 27 revised. I move that the town vote to reallocate the sum of $25,000.00 from Article 27 from the May 2nd, 2024 annual town meeting, which authorized funding to engage an engineering consultant to examine and determine the feasibility of burying utility lines within Upton Center, and to transfer from free cash the sum of $9,825.00 for a total of $34,825.00 to conduct a building study of Holy Angels to determine the feasibility of making the building occupiable and estimated implementation costs, including all expenses incidental and related thereto.
Second? Is there a second on that? Second. Moved and seconded? So, just a quick point of clarification. It says revised, but that doesn't matter. This is the motion, whatever it's read, okay? So having said that, any discussion? Yes, sir.
My name is Craig Weinfuss. I live at 8 Hazeltine Road. I'm the chairman of the Historical Commission and a member of the Economic Development Committee here in Upton. I would like to express my support of this article. This report is an inexpensive and necessary step towards assessing requirements for upgrading the former Holy Angels Church building so that our town can again begin to utilize this town asset. As a town-owned property, it should be brought up to a useful state so that citizens can use the building for civic purposes. Inflation has increased the cost of construction, so the original estimate provided in 2019 is outdated and needs to be reassessed. This building is one of the most prominent historical buildings in our town. It represents our identity as a historical New England village. The building is currently situated in an area that FEMA has determined to be in a flood zone. Therefore, this parcel is only usable for this building. We could not tear down this building and erect a new building in its place. It is grandfathered in at this location. Fixing up the building benefits the community in a number of ways. It helps us maintain our identity as a historical New England town. It utilizes an otherwise unusable space. It will be dramatically less expensive than building a new building, and there is a very energetic and motivated nonprofits, art and culture collaborative group in Upton that is eager to make use of the building and provide programming for children and adults. For all these reasons, I support this article. I believe it will be a huge benefit to the town for a very inexpensive price.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Sir?
David Brooks, 3 Grand Reserve and Woodford Lane.
So you want to
The, and to include the 2 words on the penultimate line after feasibility and cost. It's not clear from the wording of the article. If anything is feasible, we're given enough money. But it's not clear from the wording of the article if we're going to find out what it will cost to make the building occupiable and estimated. So I'd like to add that clarity, and I'll have further comments later. Add both comma and cost, comma, between feasibility and of make. Is my motion.
Thank you. So there's a motion to amend this motion to add the word "and cost" after the word feasibility right here?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Can I speak in support of that?
yeah, but just a quick second. So, first of all, is there a second to that motion? There's a second. So, what I do want to do, I just want to ask one quick question to the board. Okay? My only question is this. Is this amendment redundant? In other words, are you going to do that given the way the motion's worded?
Yes, that's the intent of this article, is to determine the feasibility and the cost of any structural repairs.
Okay, so having said that, you said it tonight, so do you feel the need to still have the amendment in there, or does that...
Yes, Mr. Moderator, I do.
You still feel as if you want the amendment in there?
I still want the amendment.
Okay, then we can discuss that. So you've stated, there's a second, so the amendment is to add the words "and cost." So please state quickly why you still feel as if you need it in there.
We're facing a long overdue crossroads with this church. I know I'm fairly new in town, I've been here 7 years, and I appreciate the emotional impact that a lot of people have. But we cannot decide reasonably and responsibly to go ahead without understanding the cost of simply making the building occupiable, or the cost of demolishing it and giving it space that could be redeveloped, or the cost of leaving it as it is. We need to, if we're going to make a decision as town, and we're hopefully going to have to vote on it, we need those numbers. So this is the first step. Making the building occupiable is also on that card, first card I mentioned, is also only the first step, because it will have no value unless it occupies with some use, so that we get more money, either from paid for by us at the town or by a third party who wants to take the entire cost of putting it to use, or of making it part of redevelopment where we can put retail in. So there are costs down the road, and we need to have these relative numbers. I'm sorry we didn't add, because we had that discussion, Mr. Moderator, we couldn't add also the feasibility of demolition and cost, because we need to make those comparisons to make a reasonable, a reasoned decision as a town. So, however, this is the first step, which I think can be within the four corners of this motion, to add that, to make that modification.
Okay, so any other discussion about simply adding the 2 words "and cost" after feasibility, given what the board stated and given what David stated? Any other discussion on that in particular? Okay, so seeing none. So, are you guys set up with having a vote on just the amendment?
I just did it.
Okay,
So I
so,
need to do, I just have to go to Article 27, vote to amend. That's the only thing we're approving right now.
all right, so that's my question. So even though it says this here, we're not voting on this, we're just voting on the amendment. Okay, so everybody understand that? I'm going to ask you to vote in a second. It's not on this whole thing, it's just adding those 2 words, "and cost." Everybody understand that? Good.
Excuse me, point of order,
Yes.
Mr. Town Moderator. Just a question because the motion already had the words estimated implementation costs. So the last sentence basically said, after the dollar amount, to conduct a building study of Holy Angels to determine the feasibility of making the building occupiable and estimated implementation costs, including all expenses. So is the language that's being proposed to say, study of Holy Angels to determine the feasibility and costs of making the building occupiable and estimated implementation costs? We have two then statements of cost within that motion.
Yes, you are correct about that. And therefore, the question is whether or not, as the board stated, the board's feeling is that it's redundant, yet the person making the amendment feels as if it needs to be in there. That's essentially what we're voting on, whether to still add that in there, okay? Now, that's your opinion. Do you have your opinion on it?
Yeah, my understanding was that
Sir?
was, sorry.
Okay.
Go on.
Because to simply add the words "and cost," it's with respect to the motion as is to come up with the cost.
My understanding of the logic of that sentence, which is rather tortuous, is that those final clauses refer to the implementation of the study itself, not of any further work on the church.
Okay, that's fair enough. They've stated that it includes the cost of making it habitable. Is that correct, Board of Selectmen?
It's a study to see if the building will be occupiable.
And the cost that it would be to do
And
that.
the cost that it would make, that would ensue to make the building occupiable.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
For clarification, we have seen a proposal from the people that did the 2019 study. This is an update of that study because in the last 6 years, we have had both vermin, human people, and water infiltration into the building. So we are simply clarifying whether or not the building is structurally stable.
Okay.
And any cost we would incur to make it occupiable. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good. So, that being said, we are not going to vote on the amendment to add those two words. So, okay, open voting to add those two words as the amendment. Open voting. Close voting. Yes, 81, no, 110. So the amendment to add and cost is defeated. Okay? So back to the original, so we go back to the original motion without any amendment. Okay, further discussion. Sure.
Hello, Matthew Fear, 119 High Street.
Back up just a little bit.
Sorry.
Thank you. That's all right.
We can give this beautiful church a real purpose for residents. We see this historical landmark revitalized and offering arts and culture, a maker space, or whatever community members are engaged in. Having a functioning building would enrich our quality of life in Upton, but the first step in doing anything at all is to vote yes in favor of this survey. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy Correa, 98 High Street. So in 2019, a study was performed, a proposal by Johnson and Flinker, and it basically says the plan to develop the church into 3 residential units with parking in the basement was performed in 2015. Engineers recently, that was 2019, conducted a structural evaluation of the building. For the town, they found the building was structurally sound. The estimated stabilizing the building, including remediation of asbestos, would cost $78,000. A full structural renovation would cost $552,000. The full estimate for the full renovation does not include electrical, plumbing, sprinkler, HVAC. They estimate that would be $1.5 million. That was 4 years ago, 5 years, 6 years ago, multiply that times 4, and all the floods we've had, and it's in the flood zone, you're talking.
Sure. Okay, fair enough. Yes, anything else?
Dan Lazarus, 10 Broad Road. I'm here tonight to express support for this article.
Can't hear you. Tell me.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got it.
I'd like to express support for this article. This building is a historic building. It has been through the State Historic Preservation Office and recognized. It's one of the reasons why we had 3 historic district signs on Main Street in Upton and other places. So if you, there is some cost that's pretty complicated to just demolish the building. So I don't believe it's easy as a lot of people think. So as you look at this study, it appears to be the way it's written, that there's enough flexibility there for a consultant to give us good advice about how to deal with the building and improving it. And it's probably not hard to figure out the cost estimate, to figure out how we could take it down. But I think there's a lot of steps to do with that relates to its historic contribution to our historic district.
Thank you. Ms. Warden?
Hi, my name is Lori Warden, 7 Nelson Street. I'm just here to remind you that in the past years, the voters of Upton have taken 5 votes in favor of keeping Holy Angels because of its prominence in our historic government center. First, we voted to buy the building. Then the Downtown Envisioning Committee worked an entire year representing all aspects of Upton and committed to keeping Holy Angels, or at the very least its facade, because it's a beautiful example of New England architecture and because it's anchored to our downtown. Then this representative body voted to accept that vision. After that, we voted for structural analysis, which thankfully confirmed what we had been told over the years, that the building was structurally sound, so we truly knew it was worth renovating. That was in 2019, and good news indeed. Then when the steeple fell in a few years ago, wisely we voted with money to fix it right away, which was crucial to maintaining the building. Then we voted to paint the building and the fence. This would have beautified it and helped us all more clearly see the possibilities for this historic space. The painting was supposed to be done in the fall, but wasn't done because of the very small amount of lead in the paint in the columns and near the top. 5 times this body has supported keeping the church. I hope we remember and respect the wishes of the voters and the investment we have made throughout the years. This small step, updating the structural analysis, will not raise taxes at all, but will ensure the building is still sound and give us updated costs. I have a statement here from Pat Roach, who was our building inspector for nearly 50 years. He wrote me and asked me to speak this tonight. He said the structure is structurally sound with some maintenance required in the basement wall left side. The building is fit for the proposed use as stated. I hope that this building, which we have saved all this time, which is so important, we can recognize that this one small step will ensure that either we move forward wisely or basically the building will come down because, as Craig told you, it's in a floodplain and can't really be replaced. It's a very important decision, and I hope we at least take this important step. Thank you. 1.5 million. Construction costs have increased 40% since 2019, which would bring it to 2.8 million. There are corporate companies like Dell and National Grid and MathWorks which support efforts like this. And Mass Cultural Council gives infrastructure grants of $250,000 for projects just like this. So there's lots of money to be gotten to lower those costs. So that could be greatly brought down. There'll be private donations, there'll be fundraising. Everything will be done to keep the costs as low as possible. Thank you.
Again, let's keep it to just dealing with funding to see if it's buildable. Okay.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Hi, everybody. My name is Erica McGowan-Velver, 225 North Street. To the woman's point earlier about the building being in disrepair, 6 years later, we need an updated survey to confirm that information and to inform renovation costs. Or no one will be able to do anything with the building, and it will continue to sit there vacant. So let's vote yes. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Is there any more discussion? Maybe one more, that's it.
Yeah, I waited, Dave Ross, 23 Plumley. I waited until Miss Andrews sat down, so it wouldn't cut me off. What is the plan? Right, we're going to get a study done. Is it to have a bakery, a restaurant, an art center? If we have this collaborative that's very interested in the building, we've authorized the Board of Selectmen to sell, lease, or transfer the building. Why don't we just transfer it or sell it for $1 to this collaborative, and they can move forward and do all of this? I don't think the town of Upton should become a landlord. Okay? I lived through this in Grafton with the old town hall. There were a lot of promises made by Apple Tree Arts there, and it kept coming back every town meeting that they needed CPC funding. And that is our tax dollars. That wasn't grants from Hanover or at the time EMC or whomever. So nothing against it. I think it'd be a great project. My daughters have taken a lot of classes at the Hopkinton Center for the Arts. But let's just get this out of the town's business and give it over to a group that wants to do it. And then I bet they can probably do it a lot cheaper because they won't have to pay prevailing wage.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Mr. Moderator, may I make a comment?
Sure, that's a fair
We
point.
have not determined any future use. We have not agreed. Furthermore, any future use would need to be voted by the townspeople at one of these meetings. We are simply determining the structural stability of this building. That is all.
Right, and whatever it costs to get it.
And the cost to get it there too, yes.
Yeah.
I should have clearly made.
That's okay, I just want to make sure we all understand. Thank you. Selection. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Andrews.
Sat down too soon, Bill Andrews, 17 School Street, Upton. I move the question.
Okay, there's been a motion to move the question. I'm sorry to this, we'll vote. This is what happens at this point. I feel bad about this, but here's the situation. We have talked about it quite a bit, okay? If 2/3 of you wish to stop discussion, then we will stop discussion. Has to be 2/3. So the folks over there, it's going to maybe take them a minute or so to get this ready, to move the question. So while they're setting this up to move the question, if you have a quick comment, you can come forward and make a quick comment. Please.
Sure. I'm addressing Mr. Ross's comment about the, potential sale of the building.
Yeah.
Well, we already own it, so we're going to lose out on that money that we've already invested. There's a lot of public-private partnerships here that we can address. And if you sell it, you lose control. It can be torn down, and it can be renovated in a way that doesn't suit the town. Right now, in a public-private partnership, we would still retain some control over our town center.
Okay. Thank you. So, we've already, great, thank you for doing that. So we will go through the process. Okay, good. So there's been a motion to move the question, has been seconded. I did have a second on that, right? To move the question? Good, thank you. So we're going to vote on this. It requires a 2/3 majority vote. It's not debatable. So, hang on. They're going to change it to 2/3 up there. All right. So, so this is what we're going to do. This is the vote to move the question.
What's that mean?
Okay, what it means is that you're done talking about it. That's what it means. Okay? Now, I know we're done anyways, but let's go through the process here. This is a teachable moment here for everybody, so let's take advantage of that, okay? Thank you. Because there was a motion to move the question. It's important we deal with that. So, we are ready, open voting to move the question. Close voting. Ta-da! 186, yes, you want to stop talking about it? And 16, was that what it was? It was 16, right? 186 to 16. So the 16 of you that still want to talk about it, sorry. That's how it goes. Okay, thanks for going through that process, okay, because it's important to see all the little details that we have to work with now that we have the electronic voting. And we'll work it out. Good. Okay, where are we? Now we need to vote on it. So let's go back. Here it is. Thank you. Majority vote. Okay. So now it's to vote to spend the money to see how much it's going to cost to keep it occupiable. All right. Open voting. Okay, close voting. Okay, yes, 146, no, 145. Excuse me, 146 to 45. So 146 to 45. Passes by a majority. Okay. Article 28, Highway Department backhoe replacement. Anyone else?
Article 28. I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $150,000.00 to purchase a replacement backhoe for the Highway Division, including all costs incidental and related.
Second, FinCom recommendation.
Favorable action.
Favorable action by the FinCom. Is there a capital budget committee recommendation on this?
Favorable action.
Favorable action by the capital budget committee. Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none. Open voting. Close voting. 144 yes, 19 no. Yes, 144. Okay, 29, wastewater system reimbursement.
Article 29. I move that the town vote to appropriate $130,000.00 from wastewater retained earnings for the purpose of conducting sewer system rehabilitation, including but not limited to heavy cleaning of approximately 1,975 linear feet of gravity sewer and lining of 4 cured in-place pipes, 8-inch gravity sewer pipes, approximately 265 linear feet, including all costs incidental and related.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Finance committee recommendation.
Favorable action, Mr. Morris.
Thank you. Is this something that needs a capital budget committee recommendation?
It was favorable action.
Favorable action by the capital budget committee. Any discussion? Before we vote on this, for some reason, I'm reading this motion and I'm thinking about the movie The Shawshank Redemption. For those of you who've seen that, you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure he wished this would have been done before he left the prison. Okay. No discussion. Okay. Open voting. Close voting. Close it, please. 136 yes, 18 no. Okay. 30, police station cell toilet replacement.
Article 30. I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $8,045.00 to be used to repair and replace cell toilets and associated plumbing fixtures, including all costs incidental and related.
Second. Moved and seconded. FinCom recommendation.
Favorable action, Mr. Morris.
Everybody's right. FinCom, any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, open voting. Closed voting. Okay, 132 to 13. Article 31, Fire Department ambulance purchase. Chief.
Michael Bradley, Warren Street. Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $370,630.00 for the purpose of replacing the ambulance for the fire and EMS department, including all costs incidental and related.
Second. Moved and seconded. Seems like you should be giving me something about equipment from a different department, but that's somebody else's job now, right? Okay. All right. Finance Committee recommendation?
Favorable action, Mr. Moderator.
Favorable action. Any discussion? Okay. Seeing none. Open voting. Okay, close voting. Vote 128 to 14. Passes by a majority. Article 33. Grove Street Bridge. Anybody got the motion for that? Yes. Yes, 33.
Article 33, I move that the town vote to reallocate $892,657.15 from prior year articles to fund the construction of Grove Street Bridge, including all costs incidental and related as printed in the warrant.
Okay. Second? Moved and seconded. FinCom recommendation?
Favorable action, Mr. Moderator.
Favorable action by FinCom. Any discussion? Okay. Seeing none. Open voting. Closed voting. Closed. Okay. 115 yes, 20 no, passes by a majority. Article 35.
Article 35, I move that the town vote to reallocate the remaining funds from Article 6 and 7 from the November 14, 2017 special town meeting to fund survey and engineering work at Russell Ave and Russell Court, including all costs incidental and related.
Second? Moved and seconded. FinCom recommendation?
Favorable action.
Favorable action by the FinCom. Any discussion? Okay. Seeing none. Open voting. Closed voting. Vote 97 yes, 26 no, passes by a majority. Article 36.
Article 36, I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $43,500.00 for the preparation of construction plans for repairing and replacing the dugout and retaining wall, as well as the ADA accessibility issues at the Kiwanis Beach softball field, including all costs incidental and related.
Second.
Moved and seconded. FinCom recommendation.
Favorable action.
Favorable action by the FinCom. Any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, all those, let's open voting. Close voting. Vote 112 yes, 26 no. Article 37.
Dave Connors, 13 Hopkinton Road. I move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $7,500.00 to be used for the collection and testing of water quality samples of the various bodies of water within the town of Upton in support of the Pratt and Mill Pond Management Plan, including all costs incidental and related.
Moved and seconded. FinCom recommendation. Thank you.
Favorable action.
Favorable action by the FinCom. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none. Open voting. Close voting. We vote 120 yes, 6 no. Okay, Article 38. Oh, we did that. Consent calendar. 2 minutes saved. 39.
Article 39, I move that the town vote to accept provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 221, as printed in the warrant.
Second.
Moved and seconded. FinCom recommendation? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yep. Nothing from the FinCom on that. Any discussion? Seeing none, open voting. Close voting. 108 yes, 10 no. Article 40.
Article 40, I move that the town vote to accept the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 60, Section 30, as printed in the warrant.
Moved and seconded. No FinCom recommendation, correct?
Correct.
Okay, any discussion? Moved and seconded. Seeing none, open voting. Okay, close voting. 120 yes, 4 no. Almost unanimous. Not quite there yet. Okay, 41.
Article 41, I move that the town vote to transfer for free cash the sum of $9,330.67 to the opioid settlement receipts fund for programs and projects set out in the Massachusetts State Subdivision Agreement for statewide opioid settlements and the National Opioid Settlement Agreement to combat the opioid epidemic.
Second? Moved and seconded, FinCom recommendation?
Favorable action.
Favorable action by the FinCom. Any discussion? Okay, open voting. Close voting. 112 yes, 17 no. Article 42.
Ed Phillips, co-chair of the Historical Commission. Article 42 is revised. I move that the town pass over Article 43.
Motion to pass over Article 42. Oh, look at that. Boy, ready to go. Thanks. That's great. Motion to pass over 42, which means we're not going to do it. So, open voting. Close voting. 1 away yes, 4 no. Thank you. 43.
Steve Medallion, 161 South Street, Article 43. I move that the town vote to accept Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 54, Section B1, entitled Investment of Trust Funds, as printed in the warrant.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, open voting. Close the voting. 96 yes, 12 no. Okay, Article, you all set? Oh, I'm sorry, it's not closed yet. I thought okay. Yes, I thought I said that, maybe I didn't. That's okay. So 98 yes, 11 no. This last one, in case it wasn't that. Okay? Okay, thank you. That's Article 43. Now we're on 44.
I think I have to amend Joe sent me that.
Kathy Robertson, 59 Fowler Street. I move that the town vote to accept MGL, Chapter 41, Section 81U, second to last paragraph, as printed in the warrant.
Second.
Okay, so it's that paragraph that's in the article, correct? Is what we're voting on? Okay. So it's Article 44. You all set? So could I have the card, first of all? And since we don't have the paragraph in the motion, if somebody could just take a few seconds and explain what this is, please.
Mike Antonellis, Director of Land Use and Inspectional Services. This is a recommendation of Town Council to formally adopt this statute. The statute provides the ability to the planning board, who takes in performance bonds from developers when constructing roads, to ensure that those roads are constructed. So they post a bond at the beginning of construction. If for some reason the roads aren't finished, the planning board takes that money to pays to complete the roads. That's what this allows us to do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, open voting. Close voting. Okay, vote yes, 127, no, 3. Okay. Article 45.
Article 45. I move that the town vote to accept as a public way the roadway known as Claflin Farm Road, as heretofore laid out by the select board and shown on a plan of land entitled Street Acceptance Plan for Claflin Farm Road in Upton, Mass. 01568, dated December 13, 2024, prepared by Allen Engineering and Associates Incorporated, and on file with the town clerk, and authorize the select board to acquire by gift purchase and/or eminent domain the fee to and/or easements in Claflin Farm Road for all purposes for which public ways are used in the town of Upton, and any drainage, utility, and/or other easements related thereto as printed in the warrant.
Moved and seconded. Thank you. There's no recommendation from FinCom, is there? Nope. Right. Oh, planning board, yes. Thank you. Planning board around, anybody? Favorable. Planning board, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, open voting. Close voting. Thank you. Vote 111 yes, 16 no. Article 46.
Kathy Robertson, 59 Fowler Street. I move that the town vote to amend the Town of Upton General Bylaws, Chapter 5, entitled Affordable Housing Trust, and to authorize the town clerk to make any necessary non-substantive corrections, including renumbering to incorporate these changes into general bylaws, as printed in the Article 46 handout provided at this town meeting.
Is there a second? Second. Move and seconded. The card, please.
Gotta make me work.
Hey, you know. Thank you. Okay. Nothing FinCom related here, so any discussion? Okay, seeing none, open voting. What, 46? That's okay. That's all right. So, are we all set with this? Oh, we should, yeah, the numbers look reasonable, right, they're there. 109 yes, 10 no. So before we get to Article 47, bear with me for just a minute, please. I want to make a couple of comments. Last time I was a special town meeting, for personal reasons, I was not able to moderate. Those of you who know me know I hate it when I can't do that, because I love doing this job. So I want to take the opportunity to publicly thank Dawn Anderson, moderator from Grafton. She came down and she did a great job. So let's give her a hand. And to thank everybody here who was able to do what they needed to do to make her feel comfortable, to make everything work well. I've had a chance to speak with her, and she was very happy to help out. So I just wanted to say that thank you all very, very much. I appreciate it. And that's all. Article 47. I heard what we might do with 47, but I need an official motion to be made for that.
Article 47. I move that the town vote to pass over Article 47.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there a second? Second. Moved and seconded to pass over Article 47. It is debatable. So is there anybody that wishes to discuss whether or not to pass over Article 47? Okay, seeing none, open voting. Close the voting. Yes, 106, no 19. So, yes, 106, no 19. Please give us 1 more minute. So, we've used the clickers, we've done, for the most part, a good job, learning stuff, so on and so forth. I want to thank everybody involved with putting that together. Not an easy thing to do the first time around. But, I reserve the right on the vote to dissolve the warrant to still do that by voice. And until they put me right here, I'm going to keep on doing that. Okay? So, Mr. Robinson.
Kathy Robertson, 59 Fowler Street, and I move to dissolve the warrant and to adjourn the 2025 annual town meeting for the town of Upton.
Thank you. Second? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously.